Jamie Dornan never expected that a single sentence from Dakota Johnson would ignite a storm across Hollywood. But when she stepped out in front of a crowd of flashing cameras and declared, "I'm with Jamie for love, not his millions," the world froze. Reporters went silent for a second, fans gasped, and social media erupted like wildfire. It wasn't just the message, it was the raw emotion in her voice. Dakota didn't sound like an actress delivering a scripted line. She sounded like a woman pushed to her breaking point. For years, Dakota Johnson had lived under a shadow she never asked for. Every time she smiled beside Jamie Dornan, every time they walked a red carpet together, every time their chemistry made headlines, the same rumors returned like ghosts refusing to die. People whispered that she used Jamie to boost her career. Others accused her of wanting his wealth, fame, and the global attention he gained from 50 Shades. Some tabloids even crafted stories so outrageous that Dakota herself wondered how far people were willing to go in twisting her life. She tried to stay quiet, tried to stay professional, but silence became a prison. Every new rumor chipped away at her patience. Every hateful comment chipped away at her dignity. And every comparison to Jamie's wife, Amelia Warner, made things worse. Dakota was tired of being portrayed as the villain in a story she never created. She was tired of carrying a reputation built entirely on other people's fantasies and insecurities. Behind the scenes, she dealt with messages telling her she destroyed a family, that she seduced a married man, and that she would be nothing without Jamie Dornan. But the truth was far more complicated, and far more painful. While the world speculated about love affairs and secret romances, Dakota was fighting to define her own identity. She wanted to be known for her acting, not for a fictional relationship that people insisted on turning into reality. Every time she tried to distance herself from Jamie publicly, fans only clung harder to the idea that something was happening behind closed doors. Worst of all, Dakota saw how the rumors affected Jamie. He avoided certain interviews, dodged personal questions, and carried the weight of judgment from people who knew nothing about his private life. His effort to protect his family, especially Amelia and their children, often painted him as cold or distant toward Dakota. But she knew better. She knew the pressure he faced was crushing. And then came the article that pushed her over the edge. A headline splashed across multiple platforms screamed, "Jamie Dornan's secret fortune romance. Dakota wants it all." It mocked her career. It mocked her character. It mocked every ounce of hard work she put into building a name separate from Jamie's. That was the moment something inside her snapped. She realized staying silent wasn't protecting anyone anymore, not her image, not Jamie's peace, and not the truth. If anything, her silence made people believe she had something to hide. So when she stood in front of reporters and declared that she was with Jamie for love, not for money, she wasn't confessing a relationship. She was reclaiming her dignity. She was demanding respect, and she was telling Hollywood that enough was enough. Her eyes burned, her voice trembled, but she didn't back down. The sentence wasn't a slip. It wasn't a calculated PR move. It was a release, the kind that comes after years of bottled-up frustration. And yet, her words opened a door she may not have been prepared for. Because once Dakota spoke, the world demanded answers. Did this mean she and Jamie shared a deeper connection? Was she finally confirming what fans had believed for nearly a decade? Or was this simply a woman defending herself against a machine that wouldn't stop tearing her apart? The moment Dakota walked off that stage, the noise grew louder. Social media buzzed with theories. Fan pages exploded with excitement. And somewhere in the chaos, one question echoed louder than all the rest. How would Jamie Dornan react to her explosive declaration? When news of Dakota's fiery declaration reached Jamie Dornan, he was in the middle of a quiet meeting at a London studio. His phone buzzed repeatedly, vibrating with an urgency he couldn't ignore. At first, he thought it was just another tabloid headline or another rumor spiraling out of control. But the moment he read her exact words, something inside him shifted. Jamie wasn't angry. He was stunned. Stunned because Dakota had finally said out loud what Hollywood had whispered for years. Stunned because he knew how hard she fought to carry her own career, her own identity, without leaning on him. But above all, he was stunned because he understood the emotion behind her words better than anyone. He thought about the countless times Dakota came to him during stressful moments on set. The late-night conversations in quiet trailers. The way she confided in him when the pressure became overwhelming. They shared a trust that couldn't be faked, a connection that had nothing to do with fame or money, and everything to do with understanding each other in ways Hollywood rarely allowed. For the first time in a long while, Jamie felt guilty. Guilty because his silence had protected his family but left Dakota alone under the spotlight. Guilty because every rumor pointed at her while he chose to stay quiet to avoid chaos at home. Guilty because no matter how hard he tried to distance himself, his bond with her never truly faded. Behind closed doors, Jamie considered making a public statement. His team advised him to stay silent, to let the storm pass, to avoid adding fuel to the fire. But this time, he couldn't. He felt the need to acknowledge her, defend her, and finally take responsibility for the narrative that had spiraled out of their control. So he called her. Not a text, not an email, a phone call, the kind they hadn't shared in months. Dakota answered immediately, her voice soft, thinner than usual. She was exhausted. He could hear it, yet even in her vulnerability, she carried a strength he had always admired. She didn't apologize for what she said. She didn't back down from it. Instead, she simply told him, it was time. Jamie took a long breath, the kind you take when you're about to admit something you've avoided for far too long. He told her he understood. He told her he admired her courage. And for the first time, he allowed himself to speak honestly about how deeply the rumors had affected him too. Their conversation went on for nearly an hour, filled with confessions they had never dared to voice. Dakota admitted she felt alone, that she was tired of people defining her through him. Jamie admitted he was tired of pretending the connection between them didn't exist, even if it wasn't romantic. They both acknowledged they had built something rare, a friendship so deep and so complicated that the outside world refused to believe it was just friendship. But Jamie also confessed something else. Something he had kept buried beneath years of discipline and fear. He told her that part of him wished things had been different. That in another life, a less complicated, less scrutinized one, he might have chosen to explore the bond they shared instead of pushing it away. His voice cracked when he said it, and Dakota didn't respond for several seconds. The silence between them said more than words ever could. After that call, Jamie finally decided to break his silence publicly. He didn't address rumors of romance. He didn't fuel speculation. Instead, he spoke directly about Dakota as a person, her professionalism, her strength, her talent, and her integrity. He reminded the world that she had built her own career long before he walked into her life. And he emphasized that she deserved respect, not ridicule. The statement shocked Hollywood. For years, Jamie had remained neutral, controlled, almost distant. But now, his words felt personal, protective, honest. It was the first time fans saw a glimpse of the emotional reality behind the polished PR walls. Meanwhile, Dakota felt something shift inside herself too. For once, she wasn't fighting alone. Jamie's support didn't erase the rumors, but it changed the tone. It reminded people that behind every headline were real humans, humans with vulnerabilities, limits, and hearts capable of breaking. The world still speculated. They always would. Some fans insisted the chemistry was too real to be innocent. Others believed they were soulmates in everything but timing. And a few wondered if Dakota's confession had opened a crack in Jamie's carefully guarded personal life. A crack that might widen over time. As the noise continued, one truth remained unshakable. Something between them had shifted. Something they could no longer ignore, no matter how hard they tried. And Hollywood, sensing the tension, waited for the next spark, because this story was far from over.